Luigi Mandioli, bro, he's the GOAT.
I've lived here for 30 years, and I've been on the train so many times where people are acting wild and yelling and screaming. No one gets involved, no one gets hurt.
Just judging by y'all, I'm telling you, I believe everything in this country comes down to the original sin of race in general. This country was built on slave labor, and everything comes down to that.
What's going on, everyone? James Klug here. On Monday, December 9th, Daniel Penny was found not guilty in the subway death of Jordan Neely. So today, we've come to New York City to find out what people around here think about the verdict. Let's go talk to some people. Huge shout out to our friends over at Lumen for sponsoring this video. You think the jury was incorrect in the not guilty verdict?
I mean, I feel like if a jury verdict doesn't come down how we wanted to, maybe the prosecution didn't outlay the case in the way that was, would have gotten us a favorable verdict. But I do believe that Daniel Penny murdered a man in the subway.
Do you think the jury made the right decision there, not guilty, or no?
No.
You should never take another man's life like that.
I've lived here for 30 years, and I've been on the train so many times where people are acting wild and yelling and screaming. No one gets involved, no one gets hurt. No one was threatened in that subway car, and he chose to involve himself in something.
When it comes down to it, like a 6-minute chokehold is absolutely insane. No matter what homie was doing, it didn't justify that.
From the reports and what I've read, he wasn't threatened. There wasn't any motion or movement towards him to initiate him grabbing him. He wasn't threatening anyone else other than verbal, really. He wasn't even threatening people, he was just speaking.
Yeah, some people that have been taking the subway for 50 years, just to provide some context on that, were saying it was the most scared they've ever been on the subway. That includes like a woman and her child in a sroller. What do you think about that whole situation?
But do any of those things justify a murder?
I feel like there should have been some kind of consequence to that behavior. I mean, you killed someone.
So how familiar are you with the case?
Well, I know about him, like the situation that happened, but I didn't really look into it too much.
Honestly, I just heard about it recently. I don't know enough about it.
All right, hold on. For those that aren't familiar with this case, I'll give you a quick synopsis. On May 1st, 2023, Daniel Penny, a 24-year-old Marine Corps veteran, put Jordan Neely, a 30-year-old homeless man with a violent criminal record, in a chokehold on a New York City subway train, resulting in Neely's death. Penny told police that he put Neely in a non-pressure chokehold to de-escalate a situation where Neely was threatening passengers, reportedly shouting, "I'm gonna kill you, I'm prepared to go to jail for life, and I'm willing to die." Penny held on for nearly 6 minutes with the help of another passenger while Neely was still squirming, claiming it was to restrain him until police arrived. The defense in the case disputed the medical examiner's conclusion that the chokehold caused Neely's death, suggesting other factors including schizophrenia, physical exertion, and the use of the synthetic cannabinoid K2. Daniel Penny was acquitted of all charges after a jury found his actions were not reckless or unjustified. All right, let's get back into it. And in the case, I don't even think that it was supposed to be like, well, actually, the prosecution never pointed out that it was intentional. It was he basically ended up dying, and that's what they were trying to pin because of Daniel Penny's,
they dropped the manslaughter charge,
detaining
but
him.
The negligent homicide case charge, I'm surprised that one didn't go.
Yeah, why do you think that didn't? I mean, what's going on there? What do you think the jury was thinking?
I'm not in the juror's room.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, my belief is, when it comes down to it, a 6-minute chokehold is ridiculous. The man was incapacitated. You can put somebody unconscious. We watch UFC. You could put somebody unconscious in 60 seconds. He didn't need to do that. And if something like that happens to someone that looks like Daniel Penny, the person would have been rightfully in jail. I'm not saying they'd be in jail for the rest of their lives, but that's at least negligent homicide.
It's tragic that somebody died, but at the same time, I don't think that the death was intentional.
It was obvious that he was helping people.
I think he's a hero.
He's an absolute hero. He put his life on the line.
I think he thought at the time he was doing the right thing and protecting the public, and it became a tragedy.
Do you mind if I shift gears really quick? I want to know your thoughts on the Luigi Mangione case, hero or zero. What do you think?
Oh, that's a tough one.
That's the guy who allegedly assassinated Brian Thompson, the United Healthcare CEO.
Yeah,
so Luigi, you're saying hero?
Yeah, that one I actually know about.
Yeah.
Luigi Mandioli, bro, he's the GOAT. Shout out him. And healthcare companies are horrible.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't say.
Why are you saying hero for that?
Because he's doing, like, kind of like a revolutionary thing.
By you're saying if he were to have killed Brian Thompson, the United Healthcare CEO, that is a revolutionary action, and that's a good thing?
Yeah.
I don't think they exist, either one of them.
What do you mean by that? Like it never happened?
It just, they both don't exist.
Right.
Yeah, so it never happened. Somebody wrote the script and they're showing it to us.
What's your reason for saying that?
Because that's what I believe. We're inside a movie, inside a game, so everything is like that.
Right.
Like, you don't exist. I don't believe you exist.
I exist for sure.
No, I don't believe you exist. You're a hallucination to me.
Oh, I don't believe you exist.
That's it. You got it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
This is a crazy city.
Fleet guys, making America healthy again starts with you and me, and I want to introduce you to an amazing tool that I've been using to increase my energy levels and to maintain a healthy diet. Lumen is the world's first handheld metabolic coach. It's a device that measures your metabolism through your breath, and because your metabolism is at the center of everything your body does, optimal metabolic health translates to a bunch of benefits, including easier weight management and better fitness results. And this is really cool. On the app, it lets you know if you're burning fat or carbs and gives you tailored guidance to improve your nutrition, sleep, workouts, and even stress management. All you have to do is breathe into your Lumen first thing in the morning, and you'll know what's going on with your metabolism, whether you're burning mostly fats or carbs. Then Lumen gives you a personalized nutrition plan for that day based on your measurements. You can also breathe into it before and after your workouts and meals, so you know exactly what's going on in your body in real time, and Lumen will give you tips on how to stay on top of your health game. So if you want to take the next step in improving your health, go to lumen.me/Klug to get 15% off your Lumen today. That is lumen.me/Klug for 15% off your purchase. Thank you, Lumen, for sponsoring this video. Let's get back into it.
Luigi Mangione, hero or zero?
I know, right? This is going to be like a definitely, right? So now it's going to be like, how do I hold up one person's death? Look, I don't support the death of, I forgot the man's name, right?
Brian Thompson.
Brian Thompson,
Yeah.
right? I don't support murder at all, right?
Obviously, murder is not the right way to enact change. But
I don't want to be murdered.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't think any of us want to be murdered, but also, we also don't want our insurance companies denying us life-saving surgery.
That is not justified at all. What Luigi did was, I do not support him going out and killing. But it speaks to a larger issue of United Healthcare being the number one denier of health insurance
30%.
claims. 30%. And it's funny because that's something that you and I can agree on, right? That health insurance is completely warped in this country.
Well, healthcare system that we would probably agree on is completely broken as well.
Is broken as well. So I don't necessarily believe that. I believe that he is kind of like an anti-hero in a way, but I think he's a different anti-hero in it's not necessarily the same case. I see why people are holding him up, and I see why even I held him in some high regard, but he still killed a man.
Given insurance, healthcare, the money we spend on the military, and so many people not having any health insurance and struggling, I mean, I'm torn between, again, consequence and accountability. That's just not the way to go about it.
I do think that, honestly, sometimes, dramatic things need to happen, because I think before it happened, people weren't really talking about it as seriously, and now people are realizing, oh wait, insurance companies are, they're pretty bad.
I can understand why people think the motivation was a good thing, because it's a very troubling healthcare system.
Yeah.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that you can go and kill someone.
I could understand his anger. I understand people's anger, frustration, the thought, did he have to take it that far to get the attention? Isn't that the shame? That we have to take something that far to get attention for something that's wrong. Meaning, the voice. Why can't they just hear the voice of logic?
Daniel Penny, hero or zero?
Yo, hero all day long.
Daniel Penny?
Oh.
The subway situation, standing up for people?
Oh, actually, never mind. That's kind of controversial. I actually don't know.
You think skin color played a role in this trial
then?
then?
Look. Just judging by y'all, I'm telling you, I believe everything in this country comes down to the original sin of race in general. And I know all of y'all got to sit here and be like, oh my God, you're too woke, whatever. But this country was built on... For sure. This country was built on slave labor, and everything comes down to that. And what we saw was... I don't want to say it was an execution because that would have to have some type of an intent. But what we saw was a black man died on the subway that had mental issues. Yes, the people on the subway felt threatened, but that never justifies, it doesn't matter if you take the subway for 50 years and you say this is the most scared you've ever been. You mean you weren't scared in like 1986 or 1993 when there were 4,000 murders a week in New York City? Like, come on. Yeah. I just feel like people just wanted to. It's just a shame. It's that there's some people that people are totally fine with seeing die, and there are other people that people want to actually go to, don't want to see that.
Eric Gonzalez, he was a Latino man on the subway that helped Daniel Penny detain, basically, Jordan Neely. And he actually wasn't prosecuted at all. If we think that race played a major role in that situation, why do you think they didn't go after him?
Because Daniel Perry was the person that was actually administering the hold. Yeah.
I would look at like the Derek Chauvin case, right? It wasn't just him; it was all the officers involved in the death.
Yeah, but that's a different story.
What do you think?
The different story with that is that's like an actual institutional force that actually committed an execution on the street, right? Like all those officers are paid by the Minnesota PD in order to enact, justice, and they killed a man on the street. So all those men are definitely are to be held accountable for the death of George Floyd.
I guess I'll clarify. The reason I was asking that is because if you assist somebody and they get prosecuted and they're convicted of murder, that person that was assisting gets convicted of murder as well.
Well, of course, but then it's about the prosecution can make the case. And I feel like the prosecution, as evidence in the fact that they didn't even get this negligent homicide case, the prosecution didn't have enough of a case to charge the person that also held him down. But the person that was administering the hold should have been, in my opinion, should have been convicted. I just believe that the prosecution probably didn't lay out their case as well as they should have.
If someone is threatening to kill someone and then you restrain them and then they die in the process, well, I'm sorry, but you've done the right thing. It's a shame that he died, but he shouldn't have been there threatening people. You can't just go in public and go and do that.
Well, look, when you're on the subway, this guy was a lunatic. He had 42 arrests. He was, fentanyl. He was delusional. He was bipolar, whatever he was. So he actually did something heroic.
I've been on the train where...
If you're a New Yorker, you're familiar with
some
pretty, mentally unstable people on the train for sure.
That guy should have got the help he deserved, and that's a direct correlation to healthcare companies.
If I look at it, I probably would look towards the criminal justice system because he probably shouldn't have been on the streets.
But that also has to do with healthcare companies because at the end of the day, it's all about profit, right?
No, I think it's a really interesting point because he was supposed to be in a mental health facility.
Yeah, but
nobody
just covers him.
Well, no, he was covered.
Oh,
he just walked out and left.
Oh,
as a New Yorker, because I look at this, I'm not a New Yorker, but I look at this from just looking from the outside, kind of saying, who is responsible for this guy being on the street aside from the criminal justice system? In my view, when it comes down to it, he was actually, he's been arrested. I think about 42 times,
top 10 or whatever, right?
Yeah, 42 times, mostly drug charges. Yeah. But he also, a lot of them were violent. He tried to kidnap a child. He punched an old lady in the face, broke her nose and eye socket, and instead of going to jail for that, he actually was supposed to go to a mental health facility, rehabilitation. I think about 13 days in, he walked on out and was back on the street. Nobody stopped him. Yeah. Who do you hold responsible for him being on the street with everybody else when he has been known by authorities to be violent and struggling mentally, of course?
I don't think it's the police necessarily or the healthcare system. How do you police mental illness, right? He has no family. He does, but doesn't have any relationship with them. He was on his own. You can't be put away until you've committed a serious crime.
Well, he actually avoided jail time in exchange for going to a mental health facility, and then just walked on out.
Yeah.
Would you have preferred him being in jail and off the street, or no?
I would have preferred him getting the help he needed in a system that, a healthcare system that could have helped him. There are organizations, Salvation Army, there's Callan Lord, there are different facilities in New York that could have maybe helped, but you can't. There are how many millions of people in New York City?
At least a couple.
Yeah, it's like,
a lot. There's a lot of people.
There are a lot of people, yeah.
Who do you hold accountable for this stuff?
I blame the state legislature, the Democrats. I blame the governor. I blame the city council. I blame this whole left-wing Democratic cabal. And anything that's anti-law and order, anti-decency, they support. There is no reason why you had to eliminate bail. There's no reason why you release insane people. Cuomo did it, too. They released all the mental institutions and they let them in the street.
What do you think about that? I mean, do you think that they should start cracking down on violent homeless people being on the street in New York City?
100%, because I think the policy changed a couple, maybe years ago, maybe a year or two ago, where it's basically a catch and release, where they bring them to jail and then they let them go within 24 hours, I believe.
And are you a New Yorker?
Yeah.
How do you feel about the catch and release?
I really do not like it because I think it just makes the streets more unsafe, if there's a violent person on the street, he should be, in jail or
or at a mental health facility, perhaps.
Rehabilitated,
right.
So he can improve his life and everything,
My living experience of being a New Yorker, living here for so many years, that kind of behavior is so commonplace that people aren't threatened by it. You just kind of roll your eyes and you keep it moving. But when you're in a subway as opposed to behind a wheel driving a car, your experience is different, right? So people that are maybe not from New York that think that, oh, that was threatening, it depends. It's the context of your life experience, really. I wouldn't have felt threatened. I would have gotten on the other car, or I would have just moved to the other side of the car.
Mentally ill homeless people on the subway is just a part of life in New York City. Perhaps that does need to be fixed eventually. Daniel Penny, 0. Luigi
hero?
Mangione,
Actually, no.
hero.
Mid. Luigi is not mid. He's hero. But what's the other guy's name?
Daniel Penny.
Daniel Penny, mid.
Mid, so in between.
Yeah, I would say so. I wouldn't say he's anything, I would say he's about mid because, he did try to protect the people on the subway.
Right.
From the guy that was screaming and hopefully, God forbid, could have attacked somebody.
For sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
of course.
I don't think anybody, I would imagine you wouldn't want an outcome of somebody dying, but I don't think I'm really talking to anybody that would want that outcome.
No, I completely agree.
Aside from perhaps the Luigi Mangione situation.
Yeah.
Which makes you a hero if that's the case, if somebody dies.
I don't know. Well, that's something you have to find out.
I don't believe Justin Neely's Justin Neely should die in order for change to be enacted on the subway. And I don't believe that Brian Thompson should die in order for change to be enacted in health insurance and health care. But it does speak to wider issues that we have that are at play in the subway, that we have at play in our healthcare system, that we have at play in our country. So all of these things are all in conjunction. And they really come down to how much are you caring for the people and how are you going to do right by the people?
Okay, you're frustrated with the system. You're frustrated with the healthcare system. People are saying that is why they're celebrating the death of Brian Thompson, the CEO of United Healthcare.
I don't know why they're celebrating it. I don't know. I wouldn't.
Do you think that's a reasonable position, saying I'm frustrated with the healthcare system?
No, it has nothing to do with it. Those people, I can't get into their minds. I have no idea what's in their minds. I don't know why they do it. I think it's groupthink.
It seems to me so funny how the left are so quick to point the finger at when the shoe's on the other foot, but as soon as it favours them in some way, they jump on it and they're celebrating everyone. It makes me laugh.
All right, everyone, that is it for today. So we had some pretty interesting conversations. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe for more videos and hit that bell notification button so you're notified next time I post. And I'll catch you all in the next video.